What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. We hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you have been enjoying Victory Polo Monday. That's right. The Dallas Cowboys destroyed the New York Giants on Sunday. The final score 49-17. Considering this is the day after, that makes today Victory Polo Monday. I had my polo on earlier, but as you know, if you've been following our content as of late, you know I'm a little bit under the weather. So I've swapped out the polo for my hoodie. I've got a hot water with honey and lemon juice here to help me nurse my voice back to health. Appreciate all of you who reached out. I'm feeling fine. It's just my voice at this particular point in time sounds a little bit awful. And when I talk a lot, it leads me to cough. So hopefully we can have a conversation without either of us coughing on this particular Monday. I'm putting this video together for you on Monday about 2 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be taking a look at the NFC playoff picture entering Week 11. Monday Night Football has not happened, but it is between the Broncos and the Bills. Therefore, the consequences of it do not impact, obviously, the NFC side of the playoff picture in the NFL. So we can have these conversations now because we're getting close. And, we're starting to see these teams get tight and some distance be put between them and other groups. So things are starting to kind of, really set themselves. I think we have a very strong understanding of, probably 5 of the 7 playoff teams in the NFC, maybe 6 if you want to stretch things out. But obviously the seed, we can make it. Obviously the seeding can and will change. So let's take a look at the current division leaders in the NFC. These are ranked by current playoff seeding. The Philadelphia Eagles coming off their bye are 8-1. The Detroit Lions coming off that big win against the Chargers are 7-2. The San Francisco 49ers bounced back after losing 3 games in a row and are now 6-3. They've also had their bye. The final division leader currently is the New Orleans Saints. They are 5-5. They've obviously not had their bye. They're actually starting their bye this week. I think we think the Saints are going to win the NFC South, but as will kind of be obvious throughout the course of this discussion, if you cannot finish with the 1 seed in the NFC, you really want to be the top wildcard team so that you can play the NFC South winner, because whoever it winds up being, even if Atlanta sneaks up in there, if Tampa manages to do it again, it's about as good of a bye. I mean, anything can happen in the NFL, but you get the overall picture. So these are the current division leaders. These are the current wild cards as they stand. The Seattle Seahawks are 6-3. The Dallas Cowboys, as you know, are 6-3. The Minnesota Vikings have that final wild card spot at the moment. They're 6-4 after just an incredible turnaround of a season. Obviously, the Joshua Dobbs story. But we're here today to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and what's important for them, what we need to kind of understand as the next 6 or so weeks begin to unfold. I guess 7 weeks technically, but all right, I'm going to do my best to mute myself. Apologies. I've been sick lately, but I talk partly for a living, and so I'm doing what I can, obviously, to get this done. You've all been very understanding and gracious. Anyway, so as you can see, the Cowboys do not hold the top wildcard spot at the moment. The Cowboys were the top wildcard in the NFC last year. And as I mentioned, if the Cowboys cannot find a way to win the NFC East, they probably want to be the top wildcard team. Now, I'm going to put the division leaders up here for you one more time, because what is important to note is that what we care about the most, and I think I speak for all of us here, isn't necessarily the number 1 seed and therefore the bye. That is obviously the goal. What we care about most isn't even necessarily winning the division, right? The most important thing is to get into the playoffs. That's the most bare minimum goal. But beyond that, as far as our team and our objectives are concerned, the most important thing is avoiding the San Francisco 49ers. I hate to say it. I know it comes from a place of fear, but if we're just being straight up about this, I am afraid of the 49ers. I know you're afraid of the 49ers. If the Cowboys can avoid the San Francisco 49ers, that would be a wonderful thing. And if the Cowboys win their division, they will, in all likelihood, not be playing the 49ers in, the first or second round. Obviously not if the Cowboys have the first round bye. I mean, so that is important to note. But the Niners, while they do have the lead in the NFC West, the Seattle Seahawks right behind them, they actually have the same record, as you can see right now, San Francisco and Seattle. And I think we all think that San Francisco is going to pull away and win this thing. And therefore, if that winds up being the case, if the playoffs started today, and if you don't know this, the 2 seed plays the 7 seed, the 3 seed plays the 6 seed, and the 4 seed plays the 5 seed, which means today, if the playoffs started, the 3-seeded San Francisco 49ers would host the Dallas Cowboys in the first round of the playoffs. So again, kind of our worst fear imagined in the very first round of the playoffs, which is what we do not want to see. So it goes without saying, We want to see the Cowboys win all of their games. We would love to see the Cowboys win the division. We would love to see the Cowboys clinch the number 1 seed in the NFC, have that first round bye, and be 1 game away from the NFC Championship game. But obviously, it's a very difficult thing. If we take a look at the remaining games for the Dallas Cowboys, they're 6-3 currently. They will visit the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. They're double-digit point favorites right now, wherever you look. It feels pretty safe to assume. Granted, it is the NFL, but safe to assume that Dallas is going to be 7-3 when you are mingling with your family members and friends on Thanksgiving Day next week. Okay, and I think beyond that, we expect the Cowboys to win that game. That would put them at 8-3 at the end of November, right? I believe the next game, the Seattle game, is in December. Anyway, whether it is or isn't, Dallas at 8-3 is a very good thing. But something that is very important to note here is that Seattle game. I know we're looking forward to the Eagles game because, look, obviously the Eagles game is very important. That goes without saying. We all understand. We all have acknowledged. We all have full understanding that the Cowboys have to beat the Eagles, particularly if they want any chance of winning the division and obviously anything subsequent, including getting the first round bye in the NFC. So it goes without saying that the game against Philadelphia, which is on Sunday Night Football, I want to point this out here, by the way, the game against Seattle that you see right there, that's a Thursday night game. So Dallas is going to get a week and a half. They're going to get that little mini bye. There's no travel involved. They're already going to be at home. Then they're going to host the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas should hopefully at that point in time be riding a 14-game home winning streak. That's about as advantageous of a situation as you could want to get the Eagles in. And obviously we're hoping the Eagles lose a bunch of games between now and then. But we all expect at the very least Dallas to be 8-3 when they host the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. But while I know we understand the full, impact of that Eagles game and what a win or loss does to the Cowboys' chances, that Thursday night game against Seattle is critical because as it stands right now, as you can see, Seattle is ahead of Dallas in the wild card race. And that's because of the tiebreaker against Arizona by virtue of the fact that Dallas lost to them. But if Dallas beats them, that obviously vaults them ahead of Seattle. Again, assuming, things don't just take care of themselves between now and then, whatever the case may be, you understand. That is a critical game. I don't want us to just focus on the Eagles because we hate them and all those sorts of things and say that is the most important game that the Cowboys have to take care of. This Seattle game could wind up being one of the most important wins that the Cowboys have or one of the more devastating losses because if Dallas loses to Seattle, then they further set themselves back in the tiebreakers with the Seahawks. They'll especially obviously have lost the head-to-head record. That's a double sort of consequence with the Cowboys losing and the Seahawks winning. And that would really kind of isolate Dallas and put them in a position where they would probably have to face San Francisco in the wild card round if they wound up getting that 6th seed. Now, here's the other thing. As we take a look once again at these particular games and how they unfold, because while I think we're all confident that the Cowboys are going to win through Seattle, right? I think we all feel that way. I know that we think Seattle will be a little bit tough, and I think we think that the Cowboys will beat Philadelphia. I mean, I know that that's just, sounding like I'm chugging the Kool-Aid here, the blue Kool-Aid, silver and blue, whatever, go Cowboys, I'm a homer, et cetera, et cetera. That would put the Cowboys at 10-3 going into Buffalo. And say they split those games. I don't believe in the Bills, but it's a tough place to play. It's a cold weather game. Miami's obviously very good. It would not be shocking to see the Cowboys lose one of or even both of those games. But say they split those, that would put them at 11-4, or not 11-4, goodness gracious, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-3, 10-4, 11-4, goodness gracious, so I could do my math here. Like I said, it's been a long time. That would put them at 11-4. And that's the most optimistic thing, right? Imagine they stumble, they lose a game here and there. The Lions present an important butterfly effect. And this is the way I thought was best to kind of phrase this. We don't know quite what they will be yet, but the implications around the Lions game are going to be massive. All right, let's put the schedule back up here. Actually, real quick, the Lions are 7-2. Consider that. The Lions are 7-2. The Cowboys are 6-3. And consider that the Eagles are 8-1 and that the Niners are 6-3. I know I'm asking you to consider a lot of different things at this point in time. And that brings me to my point about the Lions game. We could hypothesize a number of different situations for the Cowboys, right? And the Lions and the Niners and the Eagles. If the Eagles keep taking care of business between now and then, including if, say, the Eagles beat the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium and break the home game winning streak, if it isn't broken before then Dallas beating Detroit might lock up the 1 seed for Philadelphia. This is something I talked about on the NFC East mixtape last week. Say that doesn't even happen. Say it does happen, right? What's more is that Dallas, by beating Detroit, could set up a situation where San Francisco vaults them, obviously, because right now Detroit is the 2 seed and San Francisco is the 3 seed. So that would put San Francisco at 2 and drop Detroit down to 3. And even if Dallas wound up as the 6th seed, they would avoid San Francisco in that sense. So the win against Detroit could be helpful in setting up a rematch at Ford Field in the wild card round, as opposed to Dallas going to Levi's in Santa Clara. You get what I'm saying? Like, because of how close all of these teams are, they're so tight, and these things are going to be so razor thin in terms of what separates them. This Lions game, the fact that it is between two of the top teams in the NFC in the penultimate week of the regular season, the last week where there are non-divisional games happening between teams, this is a massive, 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 massive butterfly effect game. And we'll obviously see what happens between now and then. And that will help us understand the full and total implications. But my apologies for coughing in your ear. But the Cowboys are in a very nice spot. Next week, we talked about this in our post-game show. The Cowboys should be 8-3. Goodness gracious, I'm getting too far ahead of myself again. The Cowboys should be 7-3 a week from today on Monday, right? And the Philadelphia Eagles travel to face the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Anything can happen. The Eagles can certainly win that game, but I think right now we'd all probably bet on the Chiefs, right? So you're talking about a world where starting, Thanksgiving week, Dallas could be 7-3 and Philadelphia could be 8-2, and that could open the conversation. And maybe Dallas does open themselves up even more for a chance to be in position not only to win the NFC East, but to win the 1 seed themselves. Then that game against Detroit could be for the 1 seed between Dallas and Detroit. Again, there are a lot of different circumstances and scenarios that could unfold, and we'll obviously understand them more as the weeks continue to unfold. My name is RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram or Threads at RJ Ochoa, where you don't have to deal with the current state of my voice. You can follow me on TikTok at RJ.Ochoa. If you'd like to send me an email, you can do so, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com, or you can leave a comment down below, and I'll do my best to get to those. Also, once again, my apologies for coughing in front of you. I really am proud of myself because I feel like I did better than I thought I would. But hopefully this whole thing passes through before the week is over, and by the time we're doing the post-game show on Sunday night, everything is back to normal. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. We'll see you next time.